Machinery for clearing snow?
They do.
Where is that kept?
Kept down in the city garage. They got a great big storage unit out there, and right there at the city. And I shouldn't say the city; it's the Public Works building.
Okay,
So
that's right down on like Crocus Hill there.
Western Avenue.
Western Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who then makes the determination that there's been over 3 inches of snow?
Usually the superintendent, which would be Scott Burnham, Public
Okay.
Water Works, city.
Yeah.
He usually makes that determination.
And where does he like how does he know?
About the same as we all go
Yeah.
out and take a look, or if, like I said, start getting a lot of calls,
Yeah.
people calling in saying slippery spots here or accidents or stuff like that.
And then he goes ahead and notifies his team and
Notifies his team and have them all come in and start hauling and doing whatever.
and it could be 1, 2 in the morning, and these guys are going to show up and get started on the city
Correct.
streets, right? How many people are responsible for that?
I think he's got like 6 or 7 guys, I think, that jump in plows.
Okay.
Amongst himself, he jumps in them. So we try to keep him out and just keep the workers out there. But of course,
Yeah.
you can't always. So
And are those guys that drive the plows, are they city employees or?
yes, yep,
They
city
are.
employees. Yep.
All right. So you guys are out at 3 inches. Then what's the county's role in all of that then?
The county, like I said, I don't know. They got their own, whatever they follow their procedures, how many inches. So I don't know exactly how they operate. Just I'm thinking there's probably about the same when they start getting complaints or whether or not the police department or state troopers call them out. I'm not real sure how that works on them.
But as far you guys coordinate it so that like the county is operating in the county outside of the city, then basically like this is your snow jurisdiction or something like that, right?
Unless it's a county-owned road.
Oh,
We
okay.
still got county-owned roads in the city.
Oh, really?
One south of Holiday Station.
South of Holiday Station. Okay.
Or not south, I'm sorry.
North.
North.
Yeah.
That's a county road.
Oh, okay. So that really whether it's a county road or a state highway or a city street, that's what determines who's got responsible for clearing the snow.
Yep.
Interesting. So then and then there's the state would be 34 and 71.
Yep.
Right.
3471.
So your guys are out mainly just kind of working in the other city streets that are not owned by those guys and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
Okay. What's you obviously grew up in Park Rapids.
Mostly.
Yep. What's the biggest snowstorm that you can remember that ever hit the town?
One that comes to my mind the most was Halloween. And that was because I had my 2 young daughters and we were dragging them through the snow around Discovery Circle.
Yeah.
That was always the hot spot.
Everybody remembers that one. I remember that one, but I lived down in Stillwater at that time. So that was just a statewide snow event. What was that, like maybe 1990 or something like that? Maybe.
Yeah, I'd say 89, 90, 91, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So, obviously you're the mayor of Park Rapids. You were reelected in November of 24.
Mm-hmm.
You told me before you're sitting for a 2-year term, right? But you had served 3 previous terms.
Correct.
All the way up to 2018. So I guess you would have been the mayor from, say, 2012 to 2018, and now 24 to 26. Did I get all that right?
Yeah, it's right in there, yes.
Yeah. I mean, God willing, right? Yeah. I mean, we don't know we don't know what tomorrow will bring, but
Exactly.
that's the idea at least, right? Yeah. Okay. So you said you grew up mostly here. What was your education and upbringing and stuff like that?
Well, we moved up to Park Rapids when I was in 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Went through high school, lived out on a farm, moved out on a farm when I was 13 years old, moved out of my folks' house, helped operate a farm, continued through school, went through a couple little trainings for getting my low voltage license. Used to install stereos, stuff like that. And then moved on to heating and to where I'm at now, to the same gas company.
Okay.
So married, divorced, 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Remarried.
Yeah.
So
all right. So you work at the gas company then now. It's like
Correct.
Minnesota Energy or something like.
yes.
Okay. And I may be wrong about this, but are you involved in the volunteer fire department too, or
I am retired now.
retired?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But you had been involved in that for.
Had been involved for 18 years.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Wow. All right. You graduated from Park Rapids High School,
From Park Rapids, yep.
and you basically remained in this area all the way up until say around 2018 or so. Or
Well, after high school, everybody wants to get out of town,
Yeah,
make it big. Moved to the cities, a couple years, worked down there.
yeah.
Moved back to the Osage area where that farm was because they
Mm-hmm.
were running into problems. And then I moved to Florida with them
Oh,
because they sold everything and thought, oh, I'm going to something different, move to Florida. And,
sure.
didn't. Me and the heat don't agree.
Oh,
I like
what
it.
part of Florida were you in?
In Punta Gorda.
Punta Gorda. Where is that? Is that?
It's between, it's right next to Fort Myers. Fort Myers.
Fort Myers, yeah,
Yep,
sure.
Just a little bit north of Fort Myers.
Now today would be a
Coast.
good day to be in Fort Myers.
It would be.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind sitting back with a cool drink and watching the Twins play today.
There you go.
But the summers in Florida are pretty brutal, right?
Right. Yep. They work like we do in the cold. Get out, you work a little bit, you jump back in your vehicle, and you cool off.
Yeah.
Air conditioner running the whole time. Get out, work for another couple hours, get back in, cool off.
So when did you come back to Park Rapids then?
I came back to Park Rapids. Must have been right in that 89, 90.
Okay.
So wasn't down there very long, a couple of years, and I just, like I said, I didn't like where I was working, didn't like the heat, and missed home, I guess.
And so you stayed there in Park Rapids for the next 20 or so odd years there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
When did you first become interested in? I don't want to say politics, but when did you first get interested in public service?
The way I really got interested is I had a problem with a water line, which was, I owned a house in Park Rapids, bought it pretty young, went to the city actually and mentioned that this is what happened. And they said, well, that's your line, you got to fix it. Mm-hmm. Like, well, wait a minute here, your guys is the ones that bent it. It was the riser for the water shut off, and it was always freezing. And the mayor at the time said, well, that's not our problem. And I thought, wow, that's the way you treat your taxpayers. I think I'm going to try to change something here.
Okay.
So then I talked to a couple of the council members, and back then it was the Good Old Boys Club.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of the older guys, and talked with them, and they said, well, we got somebody that's stepping out, and we would like you to fill his position, finish off his term. And I started out like that and really enjoyed it. So
yeah. And that's you told me before about it. Is it a 3-year term or 4-year term?
council's 4.
4.
Yep.
Okay, so council's 4. So you
Yep.
you finished that term. And was there any from the standpoint of here I'm a citizen, I've got an issue here, I'm going to bring it to the city council, to the point where you actually became a councilman, did your perspective change at all on how?
Yes, yeah. I found out, that they were right.
Uh-huh.
It is mine. They bent the riser, but it was up to me. That is actually your service, your line. So,
Okay.
and it's like, okay, well, now I understand. Not just it's not our problem,
Mm-hmm.
And that to me, it probably would have been, if that's all it would have took, is someone to sit down and explain it,
Yeah.
not just to go, well, it's not our problem.
You feel like maybe not as much in city council or the county board or something like that. When people come to complain about something, it seems to me at least, and I don't I don't know anything anywhere near as much about it as you do, but that a lot of the times it's that when people complain about something, it's that they don't really understand what the situation is.
That is 90% of it.
Mm-hmm.
Being the mayor and even the council, you get calls all the time. And one that sticks out is I had a gentleman call me at 9 o'clock at night, and he was just had a beef. He was mad. And my response is at 9 o'clock at night, I said, well, why don't you give me your number here? I'll call you tomorrow about 10 o'clock at night. And phone went quiet. Well, why would you call me at 10? I said, well, why are you calling me at 9?
I love it. Yeah.
The next morning I called him and he did it. Yeah, I am sorry. I didn't think about it. I was just upset. And we talked everything out, showed him what, hey, this is why this is this way. And
yeah.
Most people want to be heard. They want somebody to listen to. And I've told every council person that I brought on, don't BS them. If you don't know the answer, research it, get back to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's most what everybody wants.
People just want to be treated fairly.
Exactly.
And as you said, they want to be heard. Because,
Yep.
yeah, I think a lot of times people in the position of having that knowledge are more just, they're kind of dismissive of people and stuff like that. And that's what angers them more than anything.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. But I got to say, I am gonna make a mental note of your response to that call, because I'm going to use that.
It is, and it works. And like I said, the next morning, the guy was totally apologetic, and I shouldn't have called you then. I shouldn't, but made you sit back and think about it, and then think, I guess that was kind of a stupid idea. But
So tell me a little bit about how city council works. Like, how often do you meet? Where do you meet? And what kinds of things are typical for your agenda?
Most of the time we always meet I got to think about it, second and fourth Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
City council, right at the chamber in the city hall.
Mm-hmm.
Typical agenda, we go through finances, payables, prepaids, any business coming up, projects. We're all assigned to different boards. So if there's anything to bring back to the council, make them aware of, we talk about that.
The boards are kind of like committees or something like
different
that?
committees, boards.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So there's library board, there's several different boards out there.
What are some of the other ones? You mentioned library, but what are some?
Well, you got like the EDA. You got sitting on one that works with the apartment building over in River Heights.
Mm-hmm.
And HRA boards. You got all kinds of different functions in the city that we help and deal with. And so we just sit in on them. If they have any questions, that member can come back, go to the council, talk about it, try to do some research, find out the answers they need to know, or any way we could help them.
So, I mean, when you first joined, it seems like there's so much to know, right? And you kind of show up for your first day in council saying, I don't know about any of this stuff, right?
Yeah, you got the deer in the headlights look. You're looking at people going, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say here?
Yeah. How long did it take you to actually just sort of become familiar enough with the process so that you could speak intelligently on it?
It takes you a good probably 2, 3, 4 months to catch up on stuff that you are dealing with, because it's the sewer and water projects and everything that's been in the past. Takes a while to learn all that. Your best way to learn it is to ask people that work for the city. You got all your superintendents. You got people out there that are in that position that's done it for years. But like I said, that's part of that. If you don't know, go ask, find the answer out.
Yeah.
So,
how many employees does the city have?
I am not real sure offhand.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I mean, you've got the people who work at City Hall, and then Park Rapids has its own police department, right?
Yeah. You got City Hall, you got the police department, you got the Public Works department, the liquor store.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So there's quite a few of them out there. So.
Yeah, because that liquor store is actually what's it called, Northern Wind or something like that, or?
No, Park Rapids Liquor right outside of town here.
Oh, Park Rapids Liquor. Yeah. Okay. Is that the one on 34 or no?
Yep.
34.
34, yep.
Okay. So, I mean, unlike Akeley and Nevis, they those are known as the Muni, right?
Yeah.
But they don't have any on sale at the Park Rapids one, do they? No. Okay. Has that ever come up as a topic for discussion at all, or?
Nope, I've never heard anything ever brought up about that. So.
Oh, okay. They just kind of like having it that way, I suppose. And
well, I figure there's probably enough bars around town to not have to have a Muni there too.
Amen.
So.
Amen. So you kind of get up to speed on it, and then what is your sort of, as just now before you become mayor, let's just say, like the council person, what's the time commitment, and as far as aside from just attending the meetings and all that stuff, but how much of a time commitment is it outside of the meetings?
There's a lot of time involved, except because you got your boards you sit on.
Yeah.
Your phone number's published, so you got to have time to take that call, whether it's a citizen or another member wanting to know a question or have a question about something, so you got the open meeting law. You can't have people come in and 3 council members talking amongst each other about, stuff like that. So it's intensive. There's times you just got to shut your phone off and say, okay, they'll leave a message if it's important enough and get back to them. So
is the board and the council and the mayor, do you receive any sort of compensation or stipend or anything like that?
There is a compensation now. I believe the mayor's pay went up a month. I think it's like $500 a month or something now, 5 something, and the councilman I think is like 4 something.
Okay.
When I first came on, I think the council was 200 and something, and the mayor was 300. Previous mayor said that you ain't get nobody here to want to deal with this for nothing. By the time you get done running your gas, running back and forth, everything else, it didn't really pay.
Sure.
You're doing it for an act of love, is what it is.
Right.
And you enjoy doing it. So now at least it'll pay for your gas and give you a
so
little
nobody's
something
getting
in your
rich
pocket.
doing this.
No, you're not. Definitely not going to get rich. Don't quit your day job.
So it's not like you come into this and with a certain net worth, and then all of a sudden like you've got $50 million in the bank.
No.
Well, I just say you see that at the federal level, but
yeah. You might end up with $15 in your pocket, but not.
Yeah.
So.
So at these meetings, they're open meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to deal with like disruptive individuals and stuff like that?
There is.
I was actually just listening to as lawyers we have to listen to these things called continuing legal education all the time, and I just so happened to be listening to one about lawyers who advise municipalities and stuff like that, and this First Amendment stuff is huge. Like the municipality can get in real trouble if they don't let people speak, but then at the same time, if somebody's going in there and just being completely disruptive,
yeah.
I mean, so you must have a protocol in place for how to deal with that.
Announce it at first. Please ask them, just sit down and we've heard what you needed to hear. If you keep being disruptive, we do have law enforcement there. I have never had to have somebody removed out of a meeting.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
I've come close. I've had to have an officer sit by them.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that usually get the hint then.
Okay.
But I've never had to have somebody. I mean, we've had a few people come in, one person actually not attack the council, but verbally, and I did shut him down right then. And
when
said,
they get abusive. Right?
Yeah, yeah. I said, there ain't nobody here that needs to hear that kind of language. You talking to us this way. And if you continue, I will have you removed. And that's all it took.
Yeah.
But never, like I said, knock on wood, had to have somebody forcibly removed.
Yeah, sure.
So
you were mayor from 2012 to 2018. What were some of the highlights of that first run at it, and what kind of some projects or other interesting things that occurred during that time?
We went through a lot of changes. Our police department, we went through a few administrators sitting in, some helping us out, trying to find somebody to fit into that spot that works with the community, that knows the community. It was tough. we did find, like I said, a couple people and helped out. John was a great guy.
McKinney.
Retired lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't ready to quit. he enjoyed what he was doing, and I enjoyed having John there.
Yeah.
Worked together great. We restructured with the new chief of police.
Yep.
The police department. We went through all that. Lost Terry Eilers, retired. So that was a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
You always had, I shouldn't say just the law enforcement, but people going around their supervisor to talk to the council and mayor. So we put a quit to that. You know, this is the way it goes. You go to your supervisor. That don't go, then you go from the supervisor to the administrator. And if you still don't get a result, then you come to a council meeting and we'll talk about it.
Oh.
But there was a lot of see you on the street, hey, I'm going to fill your ear because this ain't working. You know, we made sergeants into the police department.
Okay.
So there's always a sergeant and there's someone for the patrolman to answer to. Because before it was always answering to the chief, which ran him ragged. So we kind of helped restructure that, and we got Jeff Apple, and Chief Apple was a great guy to have in, and we hired him, and so that was a big one. The utilities is always something. You know, we got failing infrastructure from way back, and there's still some in the ground. So that's a never-ending project. Just what part of town do we need it the most?
Yeah.
So,
well, like that recently, that wasn't there Fair Avenue or something that had to have a lot of that kind of work done on it.
Yep, Fair. A couple years ago, we finished up, and all failing. You know, still had the old clay tile sewer system. Had iron water lines. You know, getting rid of all them. So now we're starting out with this. Going to be this summer. County Road 1, which is a joint agreement between the county and the city because it's a county road. But if they're redoing the road, jump on board with them and redo our infrastructure.
Right. It only makes sense.
You know, it doesn't make sense to complete it and then 2 years go down and do it all over again.
Sure.
So that helps out not only the city, but everybody along the road, you know, for assessments and so
a project like that is usually paid for with special assessments and stuff like that.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure that some people hear about that and they're like, "What do you mean a special assessment?" But in some ways, it's beneficial to them, right? I mean, it increases their property values.
Property value, everything's new. You don't have to worry about it. And like I said, with that project, county's picking up part of the bills, so that makes it even cheaper for them.
Yeah.
So
how much? So, like, let's say that there's a major undertaking like that to renew the infrastructure along Highway 1 there. Is that just a council vote, or does it have to be like approved by the people who are affected, or how does that whole process work?
it's brought up to the council. The council's actually the one that has the last vote. But we do go out and we talk to all the people along there, send letters, invite them to the meetings, showing them why we're doing it, what this is going to cost. You know, and of course nobody wants to hear the cost, but it's a project that big is expensive.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, you're going to sell your property down the road in 2 or 3 years, and you have failing septic and old water lines. Nobody's going to want to buy it. You know, so. It does increase their value.
Yeah.
You know, they got the new road, new sidewalks, everything, so it's enhances it, everything. Makes
Sidewalks
it
and
look better.
stuff going in there too.
Yeah. There'll be some partial sidewalks, and so.
Before I forget, no, because I was just thinking of something. Do you know Trent Wilcox at all? He's another one of these attorneys here.
I've heard of him. I don't know.
Okay. Well, he's not. I mean, he's not a very important person, but I just he'll get a kick out of me saying that. He's always wondering, why don't we have more snowmobile parking or something like that in the Park Rapids City? Has that ever come up as an issue there?
It never really came up.
Yeah.
Closest it came was when, like, the golf carts and the side-by-sides coming through town.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
That was a big... Myself, I wasn't for that.
Right.
Because you got a side-by-side, they're not allowed on a highway.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going through city streets, you got to cross a highway somewhere to get
You do.
into the city.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, we passed it. We do have some people that do a lot of the golf carts, which to me, it's not a big deal. If you got lights, you got turn signals, and you're got a driver's license.
Yeah.
You know, there were some that didn't have driver's license. That's why they were driving a golf cart. So it's kind of a catch-22. We allow them, but we're not going to allow them. So
Yeah. But what is the rule on side-by-sides and golf carts now? Are they allowed or not?
I believe right now they are allowed.
They are?
Yep. I would have to, like I said, get back to it. But I'm sure we passed that a while back that, we can bring them through. Most of it, like I said, is just coming through town or crossing. But,
Yeah.
Up on Main Street, you see golf carts every now and then.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's like down in Florida, they have all those towns that are just devoted to golf carts and stuff, and people are wanting to bring that.
Gated communities, and everybody's nothing but golf carts.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we don't want Park Rapids to be like that, but yeah.
So.
Okay, so you stepped down in 2018 to go pursue
2015 is what I stepped.
Oh, 2015. Okay. 2015. And then did you move out of the area or what?
Well, with my job, they were pushing me, trying to move out of the area to a different town. Worked here for 14 years, and a little bit of health issues. And that's probably why you had your health issues. You had too many things going on. Your fire department, your council, you're working.
Yeah.
Couldn't prove it to me, but
yeah.
They were. My position ended up, I lost it, had to move to a different town for a little bit to work it.
Yeah.
And now they kind of pushed it back, said, we need you back in Park Rapids.
Yeah.
Had to clear with the upper seniority people in the company can I run back for mayor again?
Yeah.
And there was a little scuttle about it, and finally one of the because our parent company is WEC out of Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And finally, their group said, "Why wouldn't we? Mm-hmm. We have no problem with you. You let everybody know that's what you're doing." And so I said, "Okay, then I'm going to run again."
Yeah.
So.
And why? Why did you want to get back into it? Well, I mean, aside from just it seems like you it was convenient for you not to be here during the COVID time, and then you come back, and but like what is it about being the mayor or being involved in the city that is so attractive that you would kind of make yourself so busy?
Glutton for punishment, maybe.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Talking to the people, keeping communication with all the projects going on, watching it. Trying to keep the budget down as much as we can. Mm-hmm. And it was just something that I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed the local government, and should I move on and go somewhere, Mr. Rutke did, but I never took that step. I enjoy the small city government and stuff like that.
Well, it's never too late for that, I suppose, right?
Well.
Yeah. So what are some of the challenges that the city is facing today?
Well, the biggest one is our budget. Mm-hmm. Never know if we're going to get any LGA or how much we're going to get local government.
What does this mean?
Local government aid.
Okay.
We always get local government aid to run the city.
It's part of the state budget?
State budget, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of up in limbo.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going to happen.
So that's one thing that can really have a dramatic impact on
that'll change everything.
Yeah.
If you don't get much for local government aid, that means a lot of your projects are going to have to be put back. It's just a given. Mm-hmm. A lot of the grants are considered, we get a lot of grants to run some other projects. Our airport is funded by the federal government. Mm-hmm. We get a lot of actually our equipment through that airport. Mm. So projects that we use the big equipment on, we use them out at the airport. Feds fund and help pay for them. So it's kind of a nice thing to have. So they get a new piece of equipment, we can still use it throughout the city, but it's earmarked for that.
Yeah.
So,
does the city have any sort of like taxing authority or anything like that? Like, I mean, are there any taxes that are paid to the city, like a sales tax or any sort of other revenue streams?
that there are some small, I think, taxes that the city gets. Majority of it is going through the county, though. So we're just a part of it.
Yeah.
So what they say, like I said, when your taxes go up, they come complain to the city. Well, it's not always the city. We got to look at the county and keep trying to work together to keep theirs low so ours stays low. So it's a little tough on that one too, because we have no control of them.
Right.
So
it sounds like the city is funded primarily by the state government. Then.
State and the citizens.
And the citizens.
Yeah.
So like, is that like their property taxes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Those get paid to the city, not to the county.
Some goes to the county, some goes to the city, some goes to the school.
Oh yeah.
So it's in the works.
So when they do these tax referendums and stuff like that for the school and all that stuff, that affects the city budget as well then, I suppose, right?
It affects us a little bit, but like I said, majority of that, if it's earmarked for the school or something, everybody votes on it, the referendums.
Yeah.
That's where it's going.
As far as trends go, have you seen, say from when you first got involved in city council to today, have you seen the budget rise in terms of, revenues or decline or stay about the same?
They stay about the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adjusted for inflation and all that,
Yeah.
I suppose, right?
Inflation, and then like I said, whatever projects we got. Sometimes we'll have a couple big projects, sometimes we don't. We don't have them back to back. We try to spread them out, different parts of town as we go through.
Sure. Overall, would you say the city is in pretty good shape economically, or are there some real areas for improvement there?
It could be better, but it's been staying pretty good. So I mean, you don't want to beat it up too much. Watch what we're spending, what we're trying to get money for, and pay off some of these older bonds, and that's what our administrator right now is doing. We're not taking on as many bonds to pay for these projects. We want to get rid of these old ones, get them off the books, even though we still got years on them. But as well as I do, any loan, the faster you pay it off, the better you are.
Sure. Yeah,
and of course makes your rating better, and in case we do need a big bond for something, there you go. We have that ability if needed to.
Right. What are some of the, like, aside from just the financial issues and stuff like that, like what are some other, say, challenges or issues that are going on in the city now that the council's trying to address?
There ain't a whole lot right now we're addressing. I know some of the issues we are finding as far as workforce.
That's a common theme. Yeah.
You're trying to find somebody that wants to work. Come in, work 8 hours, get paid 8 hours for good pay, and go home and come back again. With everything going on nowadays, trying to find that person that's willing to show up, that you can rely on. I mean, they're driving $100,000 piece of equipment, if not more. Do they have the ability to keep it going and take care of it, not just beat it up? So that's a big one, no matter where you're at in the city.
Yeah. And there are a lot of job opportunities in the city. I mean, it just seems that way, at least. It's just, but then I talked to Mary Thompson from Headwaters Economic Development, and also Jeff Cadwell, the county administrator. And one thing that they talk about a lot is the need for childcare in this area, because it's all related, because a lot of people want to stay in Park Rapids and start a family, raise a family here and all that stuff, but they find themselves either unable to do so or to really have to sacrifice what their plans and goals are on account of the fact that they can't find enough childcare. Does the city address anything like that, or is it?
I know there is something in the works there that we do help out for childcare.
Yep.
Full-time employees. I was lucky enough to not have to worry about that when I was younger.
Sure.
With 2 kids, but
Yeah.
it's some of these people are paying their child care is more than taking away one whole wage.
It makes no sense to do it that way, then,
So
does it? Yeah.
one person's working for nothing while the other spouse is working to make ends meet. So I mean, I think there's more need, but then again, they're getting what they ask. You know, there's a lot of people are paying that much. That's crazy to me. So I mean, me being a young man with 2 girls, there ain't no way I would have been able to kept working and my wife to work to pay for it.
Yeah.
So it makes it tough on them.
Crime. So, have you seen crime trending either direction over the years? And where are we now?
I would say when I first came on, we did have a lot of problem. I'm not saying we don't still have problem now. You still have the drugs coming through, whether it's making its way from north to south or south coming up north. We're right in the line of fire as main roads coming through.
Yeah.
I do know our police force are doing a pretty good job on it, and our drug task force, and we've got tri-state with everything working all together. Can it be better? It can always be better. As long as you still got people dying from stuff, we still got problems.
Right.
How do you put a handle on it? Then again,
It's a good question, isn't it?
get more law enforcement, but then again, how can you afford that? At a small town of Park Rapids to have 40, law enforcement out there, you can't afford that. You rely a lot on the county. They do a lot working with our city police, and that's really all we can do is just keep our thumb on it and keep attacking it and finding it when we can.
Yeah. Do you find it's that a lot of it is just having to do with the fact that people are just kind of passing through the county or I mean, let's say the city, or do you feel as though there are, kind of operations that are in place there for the distribution of that stuff, even right within the city?
I would say there's probably still some minor players that are operating throughout the city.
Yeah.
Because you still got it around.
Yeah.
But it is also a pass-through because city of Park Rapids, where you're getting drugs, it's coming from the north or the south.
Has to, right? Yeah.
It's just a matter of, like I said, trying to find them, get the key players and deal with them and move them out.
Sure.
So,
sure.
But.
Fire department, it's a volunteer force. Are they attached to the city in any way, or is it an independent organization?
It is a city owned.
It is, okay.
Yep. All the equipment there is the city's.
Oh.
I should say I'm not fireman no more, but
yeah,
they are one of the few departments that are a paid fire department. You get paid when you get that call.
Okay.
As soon as that truck leaves that port, you get paid.
You're on the clock.
You're on the clock. I would say all firemen, as soon as that pager goes off, you're walking away from your job to go to less than a minimum pay, I would say, job. So you're walking away from $20 an hour, but it's a passion.
Sure. Yeah.
Always thought you were the dumb ones running into a fire, but what a rush. I mean, it's...
I imagine, it's got to be, right.
And your camaraderie with the whole department is nothing else. I mean, you can't find it nowhere else. You're relying on everyone else to protect your back, and you do the same. So...
It's almost like it almost sounds like a soldier story in a way.
It is.
Yeah.
I've had close calls in my life in there, and there's always hazard, always danger.
Yeah.
But you rely on everybody around you.
So I moved into this area in 2016. but I think, was it a year or two before then, there was that big, was it the Green River fire?
Green Valley.
Green Valley fire, yeah.
Yeah, Green Valley, I think it was.
Yeah. Were you involved in that one at all, or?
Very little.
Okay.
I was down in the cities working at that time. I had a lot of calls because it was getting close to our natural gas valves and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I down in the cities trying to talk to some of the firemen on the phone, and, well, where are you at? And finally realizing, oh, well, no, that's not ours. That's the coke pipeline. That's something different.
Yeah.
But we need to protect it. So, it was a big thing. Took out a lot of trees and a lot of land.
Right. Are there any particular areas or issues that for concern when it comes to fire safety in the city?
Well, the biggest concern is we got to keep up on our trucks. Mm-hmm. We have a fund where we put money in year after year. Them trucks' life are less than any other vehicle because they don't have, say, 30,000 miles on them, but they got 130,000 miles as far as running time.
Yeah.
When you run a fire truck, it's ran hard. Mm-hmm. When you make a truck pump 3,000 gallons a minute of water, that pump is getting worn. Mm-hmm. So that is one of my concerns as far as police and the fire. Their equipment has to be up to date. And it takes money. Right now they're looking at a new pumper truck, which has been around since I've been on. Mm-hmm. So it's seen its time. It's ready to be moved on. Mm-hmm. The price on them is outrageous.
I mean, can you give me a ballpark? I just wouldn't know.
I would say you're probably looking at the $300,000 to $400,000, depending on what options.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up there.
Sure. Well, it's such a sophisticated piece of equipment. I mean, it's got so many different components to it. It's not surprising, but at the same time, it's a jaw-dropping figure. And you look at it and you say, well, with the sources of revenue to the city, how would they ever be able to afford something like that? But
slowly put away. We're paid from all the townships we serve. So all that money goes into different funds to help pay for it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So that's a big one. Fire contracts with all the townships comes into that. Mm-hmm. I think it's every other year, city sits down with townships, and it might be every year now, and look at everything, pricing, and adjust accordingly. Mm-hmm. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's just one of the items on your agenda, and
always keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Police, the squad cars, same thing. They're not always driven hard, but when they're used hard sometimes.
Right. So, yeah. Just goes with the territory.
Yep.
Yeah. So, my last question is going to be, as far as the future of Park Rapids, like even say during your term, what are some of the things that you'd like to see happen to improve the city and kind of get things going for either your next term or for whoever's going to come in and take over as mayor of Park Rapids?
I caught that. My next term. Huh?
Yeah.
Like I said, really just mainly keeping on top of all of our needs. That was my big push when I came in the last time is we have to sit down, all of our employees, supervisors, define needs from wants. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of things we wanted. And it's like, do we really need that? Mm-hmm. Is this piece of equipment so worn out that we have to? Which, okay, if it is, it is. But do we need that new pickup for out there driving around? It says City of Park Rapids. No, the other one's fine. Mm-hmm. Let's put a few more miles. So that was a big one to overcome.
Yeah.
The needs and wants are two different things. Justify we need it, we'll work with you. But just because I want to look nice in a new truck driving around in the city, or, it's definitely something that was hard to get through.
So you have to be good at saying no.
Good at saying no, and probably good at being called names and don't let it get under your skin. So
how do you do that? I mean, everybody has to learn how to do that at some point, Mm-hmm. But how do you do it? How do you stop yourself from, responding or, arguing with people?
Walk away. Sometimes I have to walk away, cool down, think about it, and then come back with an answer that's not flying off the top of my head what I'd like to say sometimes. So we all have that moment. Like I said, that's just it. Mainly calm down, think about it, think of the right answer to bring back to them and say, okay, I heard your point. You didn't want to hear my point at this time, but now I'm ready to answer you.
Yeah.
So
I always find that it's like when you're in the heat of it, you want to say so much. Like I've written out emails or letters or things like that where you write back to somebody and you say, you just want to give them a piece of your mind. But then after you cool down, you kind of start taking the pen and crossing this off and crossing this off and crossing that off, and pretty soon you just come to like one or two sentences.
Yep. 3 paragraphs or only a few sentences now, and it's like I got my point across. But it goes back to call me back tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow night and let you think about it. So cool down and come back with a realistic answer and something that you don't want to just blow off at them and say make everything worse. So
do you see the city growing in population, shrinking, or staying about the same?
It's staying about the same. We got areas we would like to expand and move out to. There's always possibility for more growth. We still got some of the big housing problems in town. You got the plant out there with a lot of people coming in. You got other places around town that could use the work, but we don't have the living facilities for them. So that's always been a big push to try to expand, get housing in town, affordable housing, and hopefully we can keep growing and get other businesses into Park Rapids that look to come in to make this their home and bring in a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
So,
Mayor Mikesh, let's leave it at that. Thank you for coming in today. We wish you all the best for your current term and whatever lies in the future.
Thank you very much.